Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Thursday, August 24th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $19 rundown best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Thursday in Major League Baseball. First up, the Washington Nationals taking on the New York Yankees. Patrick Corbin for Washington, no official starter for the Yanks. Probably a game I'm staying away from, but I'll lean towards the Yankees here. I know Patrick Corbin on paper has decent numbers in the month of August, but he also has an 8-10 walk-to-strikeout ratio in 17 1/3 innings, which is not what you want to see. The Yankees do hit lefties a lot better than they hit righties. They're actually having some of the best numbers in baseball against lefties in the last 30 days. Corbin's still giving up 4 home runs his last 3 starts combined, so I like the Yankees to get to him early in this game. And the Yankees bullpen hasn't been the best this season, but in the last 30 days, a 3.2 ERA. The Sierra is fine as well. I think it's good enough here if it is a bullpen game for New York. So I'm going to take the Yankees here on the run line, lean towards the Yankees. Next up, it's the Colorado Rockies taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Peter Lambert for Colorado, no official starter for Tampa. Again, not a game I'm crazy about. And overall, Thursday's card doesn't look to be the best in my opinion in terms of value. Probably a card I'll be treading lightly with, but I'll lean towards the Rays here on the run line. Peter Lambert overall this season has good numbers on the road, but his last 2 road starts against the Dodgers and Brewers, it was a 12-1 and 4-1 Rockies loss, and he gave up in 9 2/3 innings combined, 8 earned runs, 11 base hits, and 3 home runs to go with it. It's not an easy matchup here against the Rays, who play well at Tropicana Field, but also have good numbers against righties in the last month and overall this season. In the last 30 days, they're top 10 in baseball in OPS and ISO against righties, so I do think they get the Lambert in a pretty weak Rockies bullpen in the end. The Rays bullpen's been decent, a 4.00 ERA in the last month, but the Rockies' numbers against righties and lefties on the road this season have just not been good enough. So I think Tampa Bay's pitching staff does a good enough job here to win this game and cover the run lines. I'm going to take Tampa Bay and lay those 1.5 runs. Next up, the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Cleveland Guardians. No official starter for LA, but we should see Gavin Williams on the other side. Gavin Williams pitching well this season, even though he's got that 1-4 record. He's got a 3.02 ERA. Good strikeout numbers, 63 Ks in 59 2/3 innings. Keeping the ball on the ground. The control's been a little bit of a concern here and there, but his last 3 starts, 2 walks or fewer in those games. And the Guardians are playing pretty good baseball at Progressive Field this season with an above 500 record. I think it's worth a shot here with Cleveland. A good bullpen, good starting pitching option. Give me Cleveland on the money line. Next up is the Boston Red Sox taking on the Houston Astros. Brian Bayo and JP France are your starters. I like the under in this game. Both starting pitchers coming off good outings. Brian Bayo starting to get that ground ball stuff working again. A 12-6 ground ball fly ball ratio in his last start against the Yankees. 6 innings, 1 run in that 8-3 Red Sox win. On the other side, JP France, he's pitching sharp, especially at Minute Maid Park, where at the beginning of the season, he actually had much better numbers on the road, but his last 3 starts at Minute Maid, all quality starts. There are some regression concerns to this game. He has a pretty steep xFIP and expected ERA. I think he's good enough here to keep this game under the total. Houston has not been great against righties in the last month, so give me the under here in Boston, Houston. Next up, the Chicago Cubs taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Justin Steele for Chicago, no official starter for Pittsburgh. I mentioned that the Pirates have really struggled against lefties in the last month or so. They're 25th in OPS, 27th in isolated power in that span. And I talked about how they really struggled against Dallas Keuchel in Minnesota, made him look like one of the better lefties in baseball. But Justin Steele actually is one of the better lefties in the league with a 14-3 record and a 2.8 ERA. He's pitching well. He's in good form, missing bats. He's had 7+ strikeouts in each of his last 3 games and a lot of quality starts and wins along the way. I think he pitches well, and I think another quality start here for Justin Steele. The Cubs' offense has been one of the best in baseball against righties. It's been decent against lefties. The bullpen's been good enough. I think we see Chicago win this game and cover the run line in the end. Give me Chicago laying those 1.5 runs. Next up, the Texas Rangers taking on the Minnesota Twins. We're going to see Andrew Heaney and Pablo Lopez on the mound. I think this total set just too low. I know both of these starting pitchers having successful seasons for their teams, but Andrew Heaney not in the best form. He's also just not pitching deep into ball games recently. His start against the Giants on August 12th, he only went an inning and a third. His control was bad in that one. Against the Brewers last time out, 3 2/3, 7 base hits, 3 earned runs. So that was a 9-8 Rangers loss in that game. And the Twins, at the beginning of the season, one of the worst lineups in baseball against lefties, honestly. I mean, they had decent power numbers, but their strikeout rate was through the roof. I remember seeing it just under 30%, maybe even above 30%, but it's decreased quite a bit in the last 30 days, down to 23.5%. Decent OPS numbers and isolated power numbers to go with the top 10 in baseball in ISO against lefties. So I like their matchup here against Heaney. And on the other side, Pablo Lopez, even though his last start at home was good, it was against the Pittsburgh Pirates, pretty weak lineup there. Overall this year, he doesn't have the best numbers at Target Field. He's been a lot better on the road this season. 4.3 ERA at home this year. Again, facing a Rangers team, it's been disappointing the last week or so, but still is one of the better lineups in baseball. I think, like I said, I think the total is set too low. I think we have some value here on the over. So give me the over in Twins Rangers. Next up, we go to Chicago as the White Sox take on the A's. We're going to see Jesse Scholtens and Ken Waldichuk as the starters. And honestly, Ken Waldichuk's not having a great season, that's for sure. But in the last month, in the month of August, he's had some tough matchups against some winning teams like the Orioles, the Rangers, the Dodgers, and a team like the Washington Nationals, who's hit lefties very well this year. He's got a sub-4 ERA in those 20 and a third innings of work in August, so certainly pitching his best baseball of the season. He has a much easier matchup here against the White Sox, who, in the last couple of years are hitting lefties pretty well, but in the last month this season, 26th in baseball in isolated power, 24th in team OPS against lefties with a 28.4% strikeout rate and a low walk rate to go with it. So this is probably the best matchup that Waldichuk's had in quite a while. On the other side, Jesse Scholtens has got a decent ERA, 3.79, but a 1-6 record. His team doesn't always back him up in the run support department, but he struggled himself in last game against the Rockies at Coors Field, giving up 5 earned runs and 5 walks in 3 innings of work. I think the A's are an improved team offensively against righties, especially in the last 30 days or so. I like the price we're getting here. Really good plus money price with the Oakland A's. Give me the A's on the money line. Next up, it's the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Baltimore Orioles. No official starter for Baltimore. We should see Jose Barrios for the Jays. Now, originally, this was supposed to be Dean Kramer's start, but the Orioles had to scratch Jack Flaherty on Wednesday. They moved Dean Kramer up in the rotation to pitch on Wednesday, and now it's to be determined, TBD. I lean towards the Jays right now. Jose Barrios, throughout his career, doesn't have the best road numbers, but this season, his home road split's pretty similar. I mean, he's got a 3.62 ERA away from home, 82 innings of work, a low opponent's batting average, not a lot of home runs given up away from home. His last start was on the road against the Cincinnati Reds. Tough lineup and a tough place to pitch at Great American. He went 5 2/3 innings of one-hit baseball with 8 strikeouts and no runs given up. Give me the Toronto Blue Jays here on the money line. And the final game for Thursday's card in Major League Baseball, it's the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're see Brandon Williamson and Merrill Kelly on the mound in this one. Now, Arizona, about 2 weeks or so, was really struggling. They were had one of the worst records in baseball since the All-Star break, and it looked like they had no chance of competing in the NL wildcard race. But now, Diamondbacks have won 4 straight series, 2 of them against the Padres, 1 against the Rockies, and then the Texas Rangers in their most recent series. And they're looking like the team we saw in the first half of the season. I like their matchup here against Brandon Williamson. A lefty. The Diamondbacks don't have great numbers against lefties overall this year, but they've improved in the last couple of weeks. A very low strikeout rate, good OPS numbers. Williamson, somebody I haven't backed very often this year. I backed him in his last start against the Blue Jays. He betrayed me, giving up 4 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings in that 4-3 loss. But he's got an ERA of 4.47, an expected ERA of 4.99. I think Arizona gets to him early. And Merrill Kelly, in his last 5 starts, 3 earned runs or fewer. He's been very consistent for Arizona, even when they don't always back him up offensively. He's been very good for the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks bullpen is one of the big reasons why this team's starting to pick up some wins. It was one of the worst bullpens in baseball about a couple weeks ago in terms of the ERA, but in the last month now, the ERA down to 4.59, which is a big improvement. We were talking about 6.6 at some point in about 2 weeks ago in the last 30 days. So give me the Arizona Diamondbacks here on the money line. I think they're playing really good baseball. I like their chances here. And that's it. Those are the games for Thursday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bet, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ronald Romanelli. Good luck.